In 2018, my wife passed away.
Do you know what happened?
I was not in touch with them and all. I think she was living with my daughter alone, and then she had gone to the hospital, came back, and then suddenly she collapsed, is what we heard. And my daughter was with her at that time.
God.
So she's the one who went and then called the neighbors.
And she's 6 years old.
She was not even completed 6. She was about to reach 6. The next day early morning, we went, saw the body, we came back, and 11 o'clock the next day morning, I go with my friend to pick up my daughter. I'm meeting my daughter after 4 years. She has no idea
Who you are?
who this person is.
What did she call you when the first time she saw you?
I think the only in terms of relationship, her calling someone I have heard is a mummy. It's been 6 years. She doesn't call me papa. Even during this cord cutting, I remember her explaining one amazing example of one particular personality, and then come back. I did the cord cutting and reorientation with my daughter.
Oh, wow.
He said, I still remember, hey, this is something, anyone who's having these patterns are carrying family karma. So you're carrying some ancestor karma due to which you lost a wife at a young age. However, in case if you want to give it another chance and if you want to get married again, please address this. Otherwise, you're going to duplicate the pattern. During my entire career, in the 2 decades of career, I have always introduced myself with my last name, which is Savanur. Looking into all these things, he said, hey, this is predominant. So you are carrying a family karma. You have come here to cleanse that. You have chosen that, and then you have taken on yourself, or you could be one of the ancestor. 2 years back.
Okay.
I got married again from somebody in a close network who has lost her husband few years back. She has a daughter of my daughter's age, and then on the paper it looked like a perfect match. Why not? I said, hey, let's go ahead. Had a discussion and then got married, and that marriage didn't last more than 2 months.
2 months.
When you get into this world, you hear a lot of amazing stories and then transformation stories. You're like, wow, man, I think something like this happens. Unless you go through it and then you experience it, you really don't know.
Welcome to Joining Hands. My name is Hitesh Bhatia, and I'm your host. Joining Hands brings to you stories of inspiration, stories of transformation, stories of victory over issues relating to money, career, health, and relationships. What are relationships? If you break up the word relation and ship, a ship is no good if it sits in the harbor. A ship is meant to sail. A relationship is a connection. When we look at relationships need to evolve. Relationships are with ourselves. Relationships are with others. These relationships over time evolve. If they don't evolve, the ship never sails. Today we have in house with us Rajashekar Savanur from Bangalore. Hi Rajashekar.
Hi, Hitesh.
Hey, and welcome. Thank you so much for removing time to talk to us today.
Thank you so much for inviting for this.
It's nice when you have friends over here.
Yeah.
So, it makes my job easier. It makes conversations easier.
Yeah.
So, Rajashekar, if you could start by talking a little, should I call you Rajashekar? Should I call you Savanur? I'm playing to our previous conversations.
Yes.
What would you like to be called?
Rajashekar.
Rajashekar, fabulous.
Yeah.
So, Rajashekar, can we start by understanding a little about, in a few sentences, about you? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? What was life like?
Okay, I'm 47-year-old. I'm born in North Karnataka. My dad was in an old Dharwad district. He was a government servant. So all my schooling was done in old Dharwad district till my graduation. And then I moved to Bangalore for work in 98.
You schooled and graduated in Dharwad itself?
Dharwad district. There are different cities
Right.
within the Dharwad district called Shirati, Roan, Gadag, and Ranebennur. So Ranebennur is a place where I was born. And then just prior to retirement, my dad moved back to Ranebennur again.
Okay.
And that's when I did my graduation. And then immediately after my graduation, I moved to Bangalore for work.
And then you've been in Bangalore ever since?
Yes, from 98.
Oh, wow. It's a long time. So you've seen Bangalore grow over the years?
Yes.
Good experience, bad?
I think mixed, I would say. The traffic is the pretty bad, but
Of course.
weather, I think it's still holding on to it.
Oh, yes, of course. The weather is beautiful today.
Yeah.
So I know we spoke about this, and you said till 29, your life was fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm the third child. I have
Okay.
2 elder sisters. Have a pretty joyful childhood, upbringing, loving
Right.
parents, sisters, and all. And then when I moved to Bangalore for a job, pretty soon moved up the corporate ladder. And then I bought a site in Bangalore. And then by the time I was 29, I think I had pretty much everything. Then मेरे को लगा यार अभी सेटल होना है.
So everything मतलब क्या क्या था? गाड़ी, बंगला, पैसा.
हाँ, you can paisa in the sense like not to that extent, but like
a good life.
I had a good life, and I think I'm coming from a middle class background, and then I think which most of the people go through, where you are slowly moving towards the upper middle class,
Yes.
where you start earning, and then पहले से वो जुनून था कि नहीं, like I want to do something on my own.
Right.
So bought two-wheelers and then spent, and then like नहीं घर बनाना है, like so went and bought a house.
Oh, wow.
And then just before marriage, like had a four-wheeler. So it was like kind of a pretty set life, where you were wanting to get something, going on the instinct, whatever you want, you are getting it. So life
Life is
was
good.
moving pretty happy.
So 29 is when you said you got married.
Yes.
Isn't that a little late to get married?
Not really. I think like I was like in my mind, like anywhere like between 28 to 30 was the year which I was thinking.
Any
And,
relationships, girlfriends?
No.
Okay.
Nothing materialized.
So थे but materialized नहीं हुआ.
नहीं थे.
हाँ. And then at 29 you decided to get married.
Yes.
And let's talk about what happened after that.
Oh, yeah. I think that's when the real life started for me. So much of a roller coaster ride. Till then, it was pretty smooth. And then immediately after that, you could sense it immediately after a few weeks. You are getting into challenges, fights. So it went on almost for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah. So where I would say that I don't think so. We were both we were happy for more than 2 weeks, given any place, wherever you go, wherever you are, like so you end up having fights.
So 2 weeks a year or 2 weeks in the entire 7 years?
Every 2 weeks. I'm saying that like
Okay.
in that entire 7
7
years, I don't think so we were like really happy for more than like 2 weeks. Like we think that like things are settled, and then something will come, and then it'll break you. Like you'll go out thinking that everything is fine, and then when you come back and like suddenly something is broken. Even when you're talking, you're there, and then after a few minutes, like it's some issue from somewhere will pop up, come, and then like you end up having fight.
So this fights, like what kind? If you could share any, were they like about household issues, about?
It was random. There wasn't any particular pattern to it. So I think I broke my head like being in analytics, trying to understand like what is it, like what is this happening. So what is that you can do to kind of resolve it, fix it? Because we both loved each other.
Oh,
so
okay.
there
Was it
wasn't any hate. No, it was an arranged marriage.
Okay.
So we liked each other, we loved each other. So there wasn't any hate towards or against each other. It's just that like, oh, somebody has said something, like so it just used to come randomly, and then it just used to get into fights.
Was she also from Bangalore itself?
She's close to my native place.
And did she work?
No, she was a housewife.
a
She
housewife.
preferred to be a housewife. I also wanted a housewife, so that way it worked out well.
What kind of fight? Like small, were they like, physical abuses?
Not really, but then I think like towards the end, like it was kind of reaching that stage when I said that like, nahi, yaar, I think this is becoming too much. So you shouldn't be sitting and then having these fights. So let's close it.
So frustration?
I guess I went through a lot of frustrations during that phase where you say that you feel like totally helpless, like you don't know like what is happening. You have everything, and then like you're sitting and then having some random topic and then fights on it. So it was pretty challenging.
Do you have any distinct memory that you could share where it was like terrible? You couldn't, and you're an analytics guy, right? So you're trying to
Yeah.
analyze that. So sir, this doesn't make sense, right?
Absolutely, I
And
think.
did you make an Excel sheet saying we fought like any data?
Not really, because I couldn't draw any pattern, Hitesh, to be honest with you for that. Like there wasn't any pattern, and initially you were thinking, oh, it might have to be placed because I moved in. My parents weren't with me. My parents were living in Hubli, Dharwad.
Right.
So it was only two of us.
And this was the house that you bought.
Yeah, that house I bought, like my dream house where I had moved in. I said, like, man, I think now we are kind of settled. But then the kind of challenges you go through, and then you thought, oh, sometimes, oh, it could be this house or the area and all. But for work-wise, I used to travel a lot. Wherever you go, irrespective of which country you are in, which place you are in, like, एक कहीं ना कहीं से तो ये आ ही जाता था.
And was she feeling the same frustration?
She wasn't to that extent. I think it was more for me. But then in the end, it was like, I don't think so. Both were really, really happy in the relationship.
And so then what happened afterwards?
During this process also, then we thought like, hey, maybe having a kid might kind of bring
Yeah,
like
that's.
again the social stigma. People saying, hey, I think like बच्चे हो जाए तो like सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा kind
Was
of
was
thing.
that a parental suggestion?
From everyone, and even we wanted, both of us, we
Of course, there was
wanted.
love was there, I could rightly say.
Exactly. So even we wanted to have a child. So then we worked towards that. Then in 2012, daughter was born,
And
and
what year did you get married?
2006.
So 6 years of marriage.
5 years of 2006 towards the end December, and 2012 is there when my daughter was born. Then I think that was a beautiful moment. If you ask me, the best moment of my life, I think the day when my daughter was born.
Do you remember holding her in your hand?
Yes, absolutely. Like it's like
I have a daughter,
Gulabi
yeah,
Pura. So it's like it was so amazing. Then we thought like, yeah, probably things might change when there is like new being into your house and all. However, I think it started to deteriorate even after that.
Okay.
So then, I think when she was 1.5 year old, it was reaching a stage when I still remember a day when we were sitting and then like having a big fight sitting in a car. And then after half an hour, 45 minutes, like I just turned back and then see my daughter is sitting there. I was like, I don't wanted to bring her up in this kind of environment at that point of time. Then finally I said, yeah, I think let me, it's better to separate rather than having this kind of a thing. So I kind of initiated separation. Again, she and then their family, they weren't ready. So that separation itself took almost 3-4 years to kind of settle down.
During this fighting phase, what was your thought process? Were you like, why me? Because life has been very nice, right? Till
Absolutely,
29.
it was amazing. So
Yeah,
I think the why me phase hadn't come at that time. Definitely the post separation. Once it's me who made the call of saying,
Right,
hey, let's
right.
separate, and then like of course she wasn't ready, and then like their family members, they weren't ready.
It's a stigma, right?
Exactly. So I knew it'll take a lot of time for them to accept and acknowledge this. But I think like I think at that point of time, I think I was like more stubborn and made up my decision saying that like, nahi yaar, I just want to close it and let's talk about like how what else you could do, how else you can just still be in touch with daughter and then work towards her growth, her education, all those things. But then I think there was a lot of pushback from their family, and then the separation process itself went for 3-4 years.
Yeah, that's the Indian legal system, right? They just.
Absolutely, it's pretty challenging.
But
And then,
what
like,
was it amicable? Was she okay with the separation
yeah, like
initially?
initially, definitely no, and then it becomes more of a ego fight when you're going through that. When जब like आप सामने से जाके बोलते हो नहीं यार, like let's agree upon on these terms and all. Since you're saying it, the another person say that like नहीं यार, like वो बोल रहा है क्यों करूँ? And so it went on in that zone for like many years. Then finally, I think like even in the court also the way it works out is like जिसने भी case डाला है, finally they gave up and then they come for some kind of a conclusion saying that like नहीं यार अभी let's close and then move on. So that's how it happened.
And during this phase of fighting, was there you mentioned about when you were in the car, so I'm presuming that was one tough
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
And what kind of did you try solution? Did you speak to your parents? Did you go?
They knew. The parents knew. Then her side of the family members, they were aware. Their brothers are aware, and then like we had enough discussions with the extended family members. However, nothing helped. I think towards the end, just few months before we separated, like we went and then took a consultation for the psychiatric, where we went and then we were talking because we could see suddenly the mood swing and then the personality changing and all. Then it's like, hey, let's go and then address. I took a break from my career and then say that like, hey, let's make this as a priority number one and then work on it.
So you tried really hard to make it work.
Yes.
Would it be right for me to say you felt that you were going upstream or against the current in the marriage? Is that something that you could resonate?
Definitely yes, because this was something which I had never experienced and then dealt with this in my life. So for me, all of this was coming as a surprise. Like man, like, and then you are not able to put any logic to it.
That's where the challenge comes in.
क्या like ये सब क्यों हो रहा है?
So if there was did you imagine a happy married life? I'm sure, right?
Oh,
we all.
definitely. Yes.
Which
that's a
Bollywood movie would resonate?
That's a wish list, right? Like
If there's a movie, I don't English, Bollywood. I don't know too many Tollywood.
I grew up watching Kannada and then Hindi movies. So
Right.
where I think that has a lot of influence on you. Where you see that you want to have a typical family, a conservative family. You want to have a wife, like the housewife and all those things. So I think like I grew up watching more of those movies. Probably those had more influence on me. So all I was expecting was just same good, happy life.
I think that's what we all expect, right? Whether it's middle class, upper middle class, at the end of the day, all we want is to come home,
Absolutely.
be happy, have a good life, have
Yeah.
a good, have a good conversation, an amicable relationship. There's love.
Yes.
There's holiday. You said you traveled a lot also, so
Yeah.
there's good.
So we traveled like, and then like I took her like wherever we went. Like we had been to Dubai, we had been to South Africa, where we stayed for a month. I think South Africa is one stint where I think we were really happy for 1.5 2 months with ourselves and all. Except that, I don't see any other places wherever we traveled or being in India, we were really that happy.
And of course, from what you say, it really seems you tried hard to save the relationship
Yes.
from going to therapists and
Not
counselors,
therapist.
psychiatrists.
I wasn't aware of this modality at this point of at that point
Like
of
no,
time.
I mean like a marriage therapist or a marriage counselor.
Not really marriage counselor. Even like we consulted a psychiatric, so where
Okay.
like she was treating, which was going on for few months, and then one incident, it just said that like I said like, "Nahi, yaar, abhi, let's close it."
Okay. And then how did life move on from there?
It was
The separation.
It was even tough, but I think I felt it was better than what I was going through during the marriage life. And then being the analytical mind, like the mind was already thinking, oh, okay, yeah, separation, and then considering the Indian laws, they're not like pro male support you. You will not. I know that, like I will not get a possession of my child,
course.
and then that on top of it being a female child, wo nahi rahega. And then this entire thing might go for 3 4 years. Family might take a lot of time to accept and all those things. And then I think one of the notion I had at that time was since I couldn't connect to any of my childhood memories before 6 years. So when we separated, my daughter was 18 month old. So I was thinking like in 3 4 years it will take all of that, and by the time my daughter is 6, I could connect with her back.
Oh. Okay.
So with all those math running around in your mind, you said, hey, let me go ahead and then start the initiative and then be prepared and then go for it.
Did you visit your child during separation?
No,
Oh.
I think
Was it
that's-
because
it was
of
a
the
conscious choice, a stupid choice, which now looking at now, I can
I
say
like that you can admit a stupid choice.
It was because again with same notion what I had that hey the child will not have any memory below 6 and all because of what we were going through. I think like in my mind I had made up a mind saying that yeah, I think if I go from my side meeting a child and then talking to a child like oh they might use that as a leverage against you and all, like I was like nay, like I'll stay away. And in those 4 years I didn't meet her,
Did you miss those moments?
like every moment of those 4 years.
What did you think it was ego or it was analytical mind? What
I
stopped you
think
from?
mix, I would say, Hitesh, and definitely now looking back now, it's definitely more of a ego.
Yeah. And then how did life move on from there?
Post that, then the legal
separation?
separation happened. That was in 2017.
5 years, almost 13 years,
2012,
4 years.
13. So it
Yeah,
went for 3
4.
4 years. Then the legal separation happened. Then from then onwards, like I think I knew that like she's becoming coming closer to 6 years. I was already started looking for some kind of an arrangement where I can go back and then start connecting and then interacting with my daughter. So I was already started to go through that. And then I didn't know how to make it happen because again you have a mother figure who's there in between. You need to go through that.
What the terms of the divorce like? Anything?
They were I think like see all whatever I had done, my thing was like hey, let them take half of it what I have. So that's the notion which I was going in the
with respect to
beginning.
child custody and child visitation rights.
That one I think like it was kind of free. Then we were having that discussion. So it's post that I was looking for more of
More
connecting with the child.
You mentioned this number 6, and is there any logic to why you had the number 6?
Yeah,
I'm keen to know that. Sorry.
See, I think when we were talking, if I had to divide that into 2 phases, I'm 47, so in 29 till it went on fine, and then the marriage happened in 2006.
Right.
My daughter was born in 2012, and then something happened in 2018. And now we are sitting and talking in 2024. So I
So
could.
it all started adding up to
I
6.
could. Yeah. Then like when you say like, hey man, I think like, there's something about this 6. It's been definitely 24 years since all these things have happened. Back to connecting with my daughter. That's what I was going through. How do I go back and then connect with her? Like I hadn't found the answer. And then all of a sudden in 2018, my wife passed away. And that,
Do you
that
know what happened, if you don't mind me asking?
since I was not in touch with them and all, I think she was living with my daughter alone, and then she had gone to the hospital, came back, and then suddenly she collapsed, is what we heard. And my daughter was with her at that time.
God.
So she's the one who went and then called the neighbors. Neighbors
And
came.
she's 6 years old.
She was not even completed 6. She was about to reach 6.
And she was in Bangalore that time?
She was in Bangalore. What happened was post her separation, the legal separation, she moved close to my locality where I live.
Okay.
Where like the path which I used to travel. So she took a rented place there. So I don't know what she was going through at that point of time. What made her take a place which is closer to that? But I was kind of making my way of saying that like I'm not going to make anything conscious. Where I'm saying like I'll avoid or I'll try to meet them. Then we got to hear about this incident in 2018.
Did it come as a shock?
Definitely. And then at that point of time, since we were not even in touch with them, a lot of thoughts went like whether to go attend, meet, and all, because family might be carrying a lot of emotions.
Anger.
We don't know how she passed away, how they will receive, and all. And then finally, I said like, "Nahi yaar, like you should attend."
Did you know what date it was?
June 2nd.
2nd of June 2000 and what?
Yeah, 2018.
18.
Yeah.
Try to
It's a
calculate it.
Saturday, so it's.
And if you had to go back to that day, what were you going through? Because you've legally separated.
It
Is just again, I want to understand this better. When you legally separate, are you emotionally also separated?
Yeah. See, the emotional disconnect had happened like much prior to that.
Yeah, but we're humans, right? So at the human level,
It was there, but I think when this happens, it definitely came as a shock. So you are like, there's a lot of thoughts which comes to your mind, like, man, look what happened.
yeah.
So kya hua rahega, like what made, like, and then like get an engage. So a lot of things came to my mind at that point of time. Then you said like, finally, yeah, let's go and then at least attend the funeral.
And you went for the funeral.
We went for it because since it was in Bangalore, so we went to the hospital the same day. They had taken for the postmortem. Next day, early morning, we went, saw the body, we came back. And then almost for 24 hours, the daughter was there with the neighbor.
Oh God.
And 11 o'clock the next day morning, I go with my friend to pick up my daughter. I'm meeting my daughter after 4 years.
Oh God.
She has no idea like
Who you are?
who this
also.
person is. And then
No photos, no conversations.
I think like since I don't know what happened during that
recognize you?
phase, like yeah, I had no idea. At least like, she was there because when she left, she was 18 months. Okay,
So it's a
so I was
second
hoping
of-
that at least the mom would have told her something about this, and also we brought her. She had no clue what had happened to her mother, so brought her house, and then we took her in our car. We drove towards our native for the funeral, and then
with
throughout the
your daughter in the car.
yes, and throughout the journey, all she kept on asking was like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy."
And she was 5.5, 6 years
Five
old.
and a half, 6. So
And what were you going through that journey?
oh, it was tough. It was tough. Like, you know how to deal with that, go through it. It just, and we didn't know how the other side of the family are going to react and all, because for them it's the biggest loss. They lost their daughter, their sister.
Did you cry anytime during the fights?
During the travel, no.
During the fights with her?
Yes.
Okay. You also cried and
Oh,
you
many times.
out of frustration.
Lot of frustrations. Like it's out of the frustrations. Like till the time like you have grown up, like you have that male ego saying, oh yeah, like mard ko dard nahi hota.
Oh God.
All sorts of things.
The
and
amount
all.
of times I've been
But
told
like
"Mard
when
ko
you go
dard nahi
through
hota."
that, like yeah, like you're like yes, many times.
And then on the day in that car,
Not during the journey because the daughter was there. It was
Yeah.
we were still in a shock and all, but definitely at the funeral, where I completely broke down when their family came and then said that hey, we want you to take the possession of the child.
wow. But that's I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
That very rarely happens. I've done 14 episodes.
It's see, it was the wanting to get back to child was pretty strong in me. However, I never expected that I get a possession of my child due to this unfortunate incident.
Wow. I can't even fathom what would have been happening in those 36, 48 hours from you getting
It
the
was
news.
tough, yeah. It was tough, and then I think it's only when we reached home that's when I think they told the daughter also that like she's no longer there.
Wow. And then you had to bring her back with you.
I had to bring her back. Like I think like my mom was here with me. She was going through a surgery, so I told them that hey, give me 2 weeks. I'll go and then finish that. I'll come back and then I'll take. So I'm taking the responsibility. So I'll take her and then move on.
I think we often say, right, that the first thought that comes to mind, oh my God, for the child. I don't like
Yes,
saying poor child because I think that's the wrong way. But I think imagine what the child would have gone through.
definitely.
But I think we forget what you would have gone through.
I mean, like everyone for that matter, Ritesh. Now looking back, I believe it was a painful journey for everyone. So for their family, for our family, for me, for the child, and for none of her mistake.
And you were
So
in love with her, right?
I was
Love can't disappear. Emotions can
absolutely,
disappear, but love can't
absolutely.
disappear.
It can't.
And do you remember when was the last time you met her before she passed away?
I think during the court proceedings, the last when we were doing the final settlement, and I think post that, like I saw both of them, my wife and daughter, sometime because they were living in the same locality. So when
But there was no communication there.
no, absolutely zero.
And even with the last signing of the document, there would have been no really
That
great.
time, yeah, but I think what happened was like I think almost for 2 3 years she was also in the hope of connecting back, reuniting, and all. Then finally, when she saw that, like I think this guy is not going to kind of come back, then I think she'd already kind of made up her mind to move on.
And this was June, all of June 2018.
2018, yes.
You came back to Bangalore with your mother's surgery.
Huh. And then post that happened, went back, and then decided to get the daughter back. Took a help of her cousin because we don't know what she was going through.
Gosh.
And then since my parents didn't want her to move to Bangalore, so I said like, hey, let me take a break. So I took a career break,
Wow.
went back. I knew that a lot of people will be wanting to be in touch with the child from their side, from their family side. A lot of other people from my family side, friends and all. So I said like it's better to be in Hubli. So I moved back to Hubli.
Oh, you moved back to Hubli
I
with.
moved back to Hubli, got the child back. She came along with her cousin sister because we wanted some sort of help because all of us are new to her.
Of course.
Me, my parents, and all. So
What did she call you when the first time she saw you?
nothing, to be honest. Like even now, she doesn't. What she has gone through. She doesn't call any individual with like, "Hey, brother" or "sister." I think the only in terms of relationship, her calling someone I have heard is a mummy.
So how does she?
It's been 6 years. She doesn't call me Papa.
Oh, wow.
It's not only with me. What she has gone through in those 6 years, and then post her survival and all, like she's been very shy and a private person, so very not very exposed to the social life and all.
And then life got you back to Hubli. Was it easy taking a career break?
Yeah, I think I wasn't too worried on that because this had become the number one priority. I had worked, I had decent money to take care of my need. My dad was there. My dad used to keep joking many times. He gets his pension saying that like, "Hey, you come back, I can take care of you." So he has his own house. He's living. So that it wasn't from all perspective. And then like that place will give an opportunity for her to connect with more people, and then at least I can be there in upbringing her.
So then let's look at how life moved on after June 2018. What was July like? You quit your job, packed up, moved to.
Prior to that, like I was mostly in the consulting job where I used to travel only few months because I knew that like when I'm going through this separation, I cannot get into a full time job. So I had taken up a consulting job where I used to travel few months a year, and then I was comfortable, fine, and then used to come back and then attend these court hearings and then close that. So in a way, I was spending a lot of time with the family. So it wasn't a new going back. So that's when moved back. But then the question started to come into my mind like, what is she going through? What am I going through? How do I understand? How do I connect? Like, is she having a lot of grief?
Was she comfortable moving in it?
Yeah, like, it wasn't. I think looking back now, she took her own time because it was for her, probably it was a survival thing.
Did she cry a lot?
She didn't.
Oh my God!
She won't even now. I think even at that time, she didn't even ask post that about mom.
When she was told.
When she was told, even when she came back, I think for almost 2 weeks, it wasn't told to her that like mom is in a hospital. Then after 2 weeks, we told the sister to go and then communicate. When they communicated, she told like, okay, why didn't you guys lie to me earlier that she was in a hospital? So she didn't discuss. So even for me, it took almost 3 4 months to bring this topic and then talk with her because I didn't know what she was going through. So again, I went back to consulting counseling, taking their help in understanding, hey, is she going through grief? Is she acknowledging or accepting the family and all those things? Then finally, when that confirmation came, I think it took 3 4 months for her to kind of come to terms to that. Then we said, okay, fine, we'll start.
So much change, right? From losing a parent to losing a city
Yes.
to gaining a new parent who you have no connect with, gaining
Yeah.
an entire new setup, new
Yeah.
schools.
Absolutely. I think for her, everything was new.
And then did things start improving between you and her?
Yes, slowly. Then she started to become comfortable. We put her into school in Hubli. It's during that time when I saw the ad on the alternative healing,
Oh,
and then I had time. So I said like, hey, let me go and then approach, because there were still a lot of questions. It's the post separation and then during the course of divorce when I was going through why me. So that question came and then hit hard. And then, however, looking back, I said like, hey man, like I've had a pretty good ride till the age of 29, right? Like you got whatever you wanted. You didn't ask why me at that time,
so why are you asking
because
why
you were
me?
fortunate enough to
Yes,
have
yes.
so many other things, right? So why you want to ask why me now? Let's accept, acknowledge, and then like move. Uh, Even during that process, I thought, since there were a lot of other questions you're going on with related to child, what she was going through, and then what I had gone through. Then I was seeking answers for that, and then I wasn't sure whether the alternative healing will help me in giving that answer.
So what is the ad that you saw? I'm interested to know that.
I think it's a tier two city, right? I'm talking about Hubli, Dharwad. So there is an ad put in by Veena Tikare, who was already into healing. Yuvraj sir was visiting Hubli. I think they were doing a workshop with doctors. So there was an ad regarding, hey, they're doing a hypnotherapy workshop. So in my mind, at that point of time, hypnotherapy was like something which happens in the Western world. Like you bring somebody on a stage and then like hypnotize them and then make them do things. I called her. She said like, hey, this is for the doctors, but you can come and then meet post that. So I went and then met her. I explained, hey, these are the things which I'm going through, whether this modality can help in getting some answers. She said like, hey, definitely yes. And then at that point of time, she suggested like you could go and then take sessions, but instead I would like recommend you, why can't you take the course and then learn it by yourself? Like during the course, like you will
Get sessions also.
exactly, you will go through a lot of sessions and then like that will help you. So that's how the
Did you have no question what hypnotherapy is, how it's going to change me?
no.
No.
It was more about at that point of time like kind of understanding like, hey, why all these things kind of happened, and then connecting the dots, and then more about like what is she going through.
Would it be right of me to say that at that point of time the analytical mind was at rest, and,
Yes.
or it was trying to
I think
the analytical mind was trying to figure out answers?
it was, but I think like more it was kind of settled more in a subtle way, because then the whole priority had changed. It has become I think I still remember when I got into the modality, it was more about, hey, you know what, like what is that I can do to facilitate the journey of my daughter. So what and all I can do, let me get started. And that was my introduction in hypnotherapy level 1, which by the time we had reached level 5 has changed.
Of course.
But yeah, the one, that's how it started. And then surprisingly, one of my friend was going through one of uh, strange behavior at that point of time, where he got attracted to one of the person in the relative. He was wanting to go and then adopt and all, and then all these things were running in my mind like, man, what is this? What is all these like different things which happens in a human life? So is a healing modality can give answers to this. So I think all these brought me closer, and then I had time. I said, okay, let me go and then start the journey.
So in 2017.
No, 2018 she passed away. So 2019
19,
August is when I think I started my
Interesting.
hypnotherapy level
I don't
1.
know. I had a very similar journey myself. I became a stay-at-home dad around that point of time, which is why I think we connect so well. Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. So the 2019, what answers did you get in hypnotherapy? If you
To
can
be
share
to be
sessions.
honest, not in the beginning, Hitesh. It was
Mhm.
more of learning, knowing, and all. You experience some sessions, you experience past life and all. But I wasn't, and it really helped at the level threes and all. Connecting back with the daughter, you do these cord cutting, cord reorientation, and all. You see things changing. Where I haven't had a lengthy conversation with the daughter.
Can you share an example? You said cord cutting and cord.
I remember doing a level 3 in Delhi with Neer Jahanda, so where she was explaining one wonderful case, and then he took us through the cord cutting and cord reorientation.
Can you what really is cord cutting and cord reorientation?
Okay, in that what they do is like, okay, when with the closed ones, with the family ones, with the mother, you already have your cord
The umbilical cord.
connected, umbilical cord connected, like so, and with others also, when you get really close with them, there is some kind of a cord connection which is built.
Like a Avatar movie.
Yes.
Okay.
When you go through certain challenges and all, like you have a chance of either you want to cut the cord and then kind of like say bye to the person and then wishing them good luck and then saying bye, or else like you want to cut the cord and then change all the experiences what you have go through, the challenging experiences, and then like bring you in your like wish list, like hey, I want these relations to work in this way. So then you could do a called reorientation.
Like a reset?
Yes.
A reset and a let's talk the tech language. So you do a reboot
something
and you
like
do a
that.
new
Like,
coding.
it's like changing the motherboard or something. You take that out and then put a new one. Okay.
Wow.
So
Did you question that? Is that possible?
no, see when you get into this world, you hear a lot of amazing stories and then transformation stories. You're like, wow, man, like yeah, I think like something like this happens. Unless you go through it and then you experience it, you really don't know. Even during this cord cutting, that I remember like her explaining one amazing example of one particular personality, and then post that you said like, "Ha, yeah, like ho rahega." Then when you do your own thing and then come back, I did the cord cutting and reorientation with my daughter,
Wow.
and then the same day I came back and then called, and that's for the first time I spoke to her for 1 hour.
Oh wow. So you saw
Someone-
real life example.
Example, like so you could see that happening and then going through.
So it's a process where in your in a sub hypnosis state you imagine and you invite. How is that? How it works? You invite your daughter.
Exactly, that's how it works.
You invite your daughter in your sub
Yes,
hypnotic state.
Yes.
And what kind of reprogramming did you want? So if you had to reprogram a motherboard,
It's just a connection. It's just allow what you want to have, and then like be sorry for not being there when really she needed the most, and then explaining to her that like it was none of her fault, like what we were going through at that point of time. So all that dialogue and then taking away whatever had happened in the past and then kind of reconnecting it for the love for the future.
and you said you came back home that very same day.
Absolutely, on the same day. I
1 hour.
remember
Is that the first
because I
1
was
hour?
in Delhi and then she was in
Oh, yes,
Hubli.
of course.
So I
Yes.
called and then we spoke for 1 hour
On the phone.
on the phone.
And
And
the
she's
first-
somebody who's like who doesn't talk on the phone and all. And then for the first time, like she started asking questions. Oh, where you're staying? Like, how's your room? What's the color of the wall? I was like, man,
Is this
yes,
magic?
The magic happens.
Yeah, and I think I think the only sad part about growing up is I think we stop believing in magic.
Yes,
And magic is there in every moment in our life.
absolutely.
So and then what happened? So you connected with her. Did you come? You came back to Hubli after this.
Yeah, I think the journey continued because that was in level 3. So then the level 4.
You must have been excited for level 4, right?
Oh yeah, it was all the levels to be they're amazing, and then level 5, of course, like level 5, Yuvraj does it. It was in Bangalore, and then looking back now, I can like definitely say that that was a eureka moment for me. In level 5, in one of the topic they touch upon is like healing through chakras,
Okay.
where like you say you connect to Mother Earth, connect to higher self, and then through your bare hand you can check the position of the chakras, which one is open, which one is closed, and all. He did it, showcased it, and then asked the participants, so you guys can connect and then practice. Then me and other person, we connected, we practiced, and then my partner, when he was narrating mine, he said like, hey, this guy's all front chakras are open.
Open.
Yeah. So, and then he said like the lower back, the back side, they are blocked. That's a check, he said. Then Yuvraj made a interesting observation. Prior to that, he had seen my signature, heard my stories and all. He said, I still remember, like, hey, this is something, anyone who's having these patterns are carrying family karma. So you're carrying some ancestor karma due to which you lost a wife at a young age. And if you never want to get married again, perfectly fine. However, in case if you want to give it another chance and if you want to get married again, please address this. Otherwise, you're going to duplicate the pattern.
And this was the words of Yuvraj.
That was absolutely the words of.
Did you ever have a thought of getting married at that point of time?
It was see, prior to that, when I was going through a challenge, I had closed the option of having another person in life and all.
You had your priorities aligned.
When we were going through this healing journey and all, like then, like to say, like, hey, I'm open. I'm kind of open if I have to get settled again and all. So that it was kind of kept open and then moving forward.
Nice. So when we learn therapy, one of the things, and the only way to learn the therapeutic alternative healing is the teacher will normally do a demo. So in the group of students, one is chosen as a demo to show how the art is done. And then at the end of the demo, the group is normally broken up into pairs of 2 or 3 and they practice with each other. That itself is very, very healing, very therapeutic because you learn what you've seen the teacher do, and now you practice it on each other, and that's what we're talking about over here. And then
Yeah.
level 4, level 5.
It was a level 5. And
So
then,
we'll go back to that. Sorry. So Yuvraj turns around and says, if you want to get married, you have to do your ancestral healing.
yeah, he said like address this issue and then only get married. Otherwise, you're going to duplicate the pattern.
And I'm sure you're going to love my next question. Did you really do your healing?
I'll come to that. Like prior to post, yeah, I did healing, and I
Okay.
said like, hey, I'm because you need to go through. At that time, the tasso has also started,
Right.
and then they were giving an option of doing tasso if you had completed level 4.
Of course.
And then in tasso, you need to go through mandatory sessions.
Yes.
So I had Sai Nirmal sitting in the room. He said like, hey, I'm booking my next session with you. I would like to address this ancestor healing. So I said like, hey, I'm
Sure.
ready. I would like to solve it. And then went ahead. Surprisingly, that next session with Sai Nirmal, how they say like when you go with something with a therapist, only that thing which was supposed to be healed will come up at that point of time. I wanted to address that. When I went that, I think during the training, some energy issue had popped up, and then when I went there, I ended up addressing that,
And not the ancestral
not the
karma.
ancestor one.
I said you're going to love my next question, right?
Please.
So the ancestral karma didn't get resolved then.
It didn't get resolved then. And one more interesting observation which Yuvraj made after going through, and the some of the other points to add to this is, during my entire career, in the 2 decades of career, I have always introduced myself with my last name, which is Savanur.
Oh, you never, which is why what I asked you at the beginning of the
Yeah,
conversation.
and then and my signature also, if you see, I sign RH and then S on top of both R and H.
Okay.
Looking into all these things, like he said, like, hey, this is predominant. So you are carrying a family karma. You have come here to cleanse that. You have chosen that, and then you have taken on yourself, or you could be one of the ancestor.
Okay.
So that was the observation which he made, which he said, I said like, I think probably could be.
It resonates. So resonance hota hai. I've been always addressing myself as
It's definitely, but then like there was like, yeah, whatever that is, let me go, and then we are in this modality. You are getting into another one. Let's go and then address it, see what that is, and also that was there. You're more confident. You're getting into another modality. So like, hey, I think I'll probably go and then address it.
and you did? No.
I did. Post that, what happened was you end up taking more sessions on that. You see that, oh, okay, it belongs to one particular ancestor, like where all your past life are showing the same pattern, where like I, as a male prominent figure, like leaving the family at the early age, leaving them with their kids and all. So there's a pattern you see. Hey, I think like maybe I think you'll come back here to clear that. You see a clear pattern, and then one of the ancestors cursing you, you go ahead, heal that. You start to think that, hey, I think I'm healing it. I'm getting better at it, and then like, you start moving with that thought.
I think it's very funny, and I really find this so interesting at times, specifically when we do energy work. You know, we talk about karma so often in India.
Yes.
We talk about curses so often. I mean, the word shrap, right? It's an
Yes.
Indian word.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about how impact deeds and actions, and how impact. So you see that very clearly in your past life,
Yes.
right? You went ahead and you had left them, so you had to experience that.
Yes.
And I think in Tasso, which is Tasso is another school which teaches past life regression. It's called Tasso. The modality actually is past life regression. In Tasso, it's often said that there's something called the karmic pressure cooker.
Yes.
If you don't resolve something in life after life after life after life, at some point of time, the universe will ensure that you better well
Address it.
address and resolve it.
True.
And do you think that happened for you?
It happened. I remember. I think I was the chosen one, even with the Hans when he was taking level 6, and then something this ended up addressing, and then even in level 4, level 5, when Yuvraj was teaching Tasso, I was the chosen one for the ancestor healing, because like you do a random coin for the demo, right? And somehow I knew that like, yeah, like for the ancestor healing, मेरा
मेरा
number
number
आने वाला है करके. Otherwise, like it's very difficult to get hold of Yuvraj sir and then taking personal sessions.
course.
The only way you can experience is like becoming a demo in any of the classes. I said like, I knew I'm going to be. So I said like, oh, maybe address ho gaya, so you're fine. And then after 2 years in 2020, when I thought daughter is kind of settled and then she's okay and all, I said like, hey, let me move back to Bangalore, either get back to corporate life or like do something full time in healing. Got connected with people. The corporate one came forward. I said, let me take that and then move forward.
Was she open to moving back to Bangalore?
She was fine. By the time she was comfortable.
And the bond had evolved.
Yes, it was kind of evolved, and then like she was ready, and then I came here, and then it's been almost like 3 years now,
Like you've
four
been in
years
Bangalore. Oh
since
wow,
in
nice. So
Bangalore.
the bond
So
evolved, and
it,
that's
yeah, we're
that's
back
great.
connected. We said like, hey, let me go back and then get started.
And that's how you've been in Bangalore.
That's how I've been in Bangalore.
Nice. So you came back to a corporate job,
Yes.
and what happened after the ancestral?
The journey continued, Tasso, and then like you got introduced to family constellations thanks to you, and
Oh,
the
thank you.
Joining Hands community got so much exposure to different therapists, got to experience other therapies and all. And during that time, since I'm working in corporate, like again thanks to you, you arranged that organization constellation from hands who had come. You start to take other issues, so you're moving slightly differently on that. And then going back to the point where I said, in when I started my level 1, it was all about me. Hey, I'm going to help the child, facilitate her journey and all. By the time I had moved in level 5, you'd realize that like, man, no, it's not about her. It is like she and other beings have come into your life to facilitate your journey.
Of course.
So that was the biggest transformation message where you say like, man, I think that's what it is. So you were moving into that, and then 2 years back, the thought of again getting somebody at home, there has to be a feminine energy at home, somebody to take care of a daughter, some partner you want to have and all, that was becoming more stronger. Though in between there were a lot of proposals, people saying, hey, why can't you get married again, get like having a female child, she might need a mother, all sorts of things. Then I also thought like, hey, yeah, like now I think again the same 29-year-old thought like, yeah, like sab kuch hai, so let me settle again.
But were you lonely at any point of time?
Not really. I think it was mainly driven by the first priority was
Okay.
getting somebody
A feminine energy form.
feminine energy. That's how the thought which was driving more. And then I said like, hey, in that process, like if you end up having a partner, like then why not? So in 2020, I got married again.
Oh.
Not 22, sorry,
22.
22, 2 years back.
Okay.
I
Very
got
nice.
married again
Congratulations.
from somebody in a close network who has lost her husband few years back. She has a daughter of my daughter's age, one of my close friend who know both of us from 25 to 30 years. And then on the paper, it looked like a perfect match. Yeah, like so why not? I said, hey, let's go ahead. Had a discussion and then got married. And that marriage didn't last more than 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
So again, legal separation.
2 months. She said like they're finding it extremely difficult to adjust to this environment, and then like she had a conversation, and then she chose to walk away. I didn't feel like stopping them because I was seeing the child and then her going down and down. I said like probably yeah, this is not working.
So that's twice now. Pattern
Yes.
repeated.
कभी कभी सुनते नहीं हैं हम लोग बात. Or like this brings back to the key message which we tell to a lot of people who like what is healing. So I think like all of us, we convey the message to anybody says that like, hey, you come to healing with a presenting problem. Two things are given. One, whatever your presenting problem is there, once you get healed, it disappears, it gets resolved. Okay. Or else like some of the issues might still exist, however like you already made an understanding or find all the resonance and logical reasons to make peace with it. So you make peace with, so at the end the peace is guaranteed. So if you're healed, like so you're at peace. So I think in my case, like probably I thought or I was running behind more on the first one, where I was started to think that like, nahi yaar, I think like you have done it, like, you have done so many sessions, you have done all these things, like nahi, I think I would resolved it. Let me go ahead and then do it. Now looking back, I think like no. I think this was something which you had to gracefully accept, acknowledge, and then live with it.
And are you comfortable with that thought?
Totally.
So you're clear that you don't need
I
that.
am very, very clear. There were like utter of little bit of doubt, Hitesh, which also got cleared, or I can say that like somebody put a coffin of a piece and then put the final nail. When I was talking to one of the senior person who is into astrology, 80 plus year old, serving in Ramanashram, okay. And then like just happened to share my date of birth, place, time, and all. Like he put his jatak and all, and then he was having a conversation. Who has no clue about my past.
Sure.
He looked into it, and then like he says like, man, I think you have a peaceful life. Don't get married. That's a word he mentioned. Then I think it took almost 4.5, 5 years for me to kind of
So it took
bring almost 4.5, 5 years to put that entire circle back and then kind of say that, hey, now I think it makes sense.
So when you look back at life, Rajshekar, you said you've made peace that marriage is not meant for you.
Yes.
Was that an easy decision?
I think it has happened over a period of time, Hitesh, because you went through a like roller coaster ride, and then उसके बाद में आपको लगा नहीं यार like अभी थोड़ा like open है, like chances रहेंगे and all those things. Though at least what I want to say is like at this point of time, I think this is the understanding or the learning which I've got through whatever life journey I have been through, and the different modality and the people with whom you're talking. And then looking back, at least it makes a logical sense, being an analytical mind, saying that like in this last 47 years, if I just take out those phases of married life, life has been pretty peaceful for me.
So why disrupt it?
Yeah, and then now we know, when we know that when you have found answers, and that was the thing, because you have a social stigma when people say, hey, like why not, like kind of a lot of thing, but you don't know what is it. But now at least like thanks to the modality, otherwise I don't know where else you could have got answers or clues for these things. That has at least helped to a large extent making that understanding. And then I remember one of the last nurturers meeting where Yuvraj was talking again. He touched upon on the same topic where I think Vijay Sai has helped him in putting the four quadrant, where they talk about being how you start a journey with ignorance and then darkness. There's some darkness which exists. You're starting with the ignorance. You're moving. You're going ahead with your instinct, and then on free will till the time the pain comes, and then the pain will make you aware, because in that journey you're moving ahead and then crossing boundaries and then creating more karmas, right? So you're not aware of it and you're not intentionally doing it, right? Looking back, I can pretty much relate my 29 years of life in the first quadrant, where it was like going on pretty fine. Whatever you were wanting, you're getting it, moving there and all. Then the turbulence started through the married life, and then that's when you became aware, like why me, all sorts of questions asking, and then go through the pain. Once you get an understanding, and then still I think I was joggling, like going back to your question of that marriage, like keeping it open, ye hai karke. But now again, I think even when I was going through that meet, it hadn't registered or resonated well. Now I can go back to that and say that, yeah, I think this is exactly what it meant. Some of the times, some of the darkness are meant to be gracefully accepting and acknowledging them. Okay, and then you start to feel that, yeah, it wasn't about you at all. So it's always about like what is that you can do, because then you start to interact with people who are going through similar challenges, and then like you play a role in making them better. Or in that talk, he talks about in the second quadrant, and then when you're moving to the next one where you are having a lot of self love, where you start to when you have reached that stage, when you start to attract people who are going through the same challenge what you had gone through, but you didn't get it, but you'll end up working, or you become a resource for them in getting that. So that's a third quarter, and then from then onwards you are in a Buddha state, and then when you gracefully accept and acknowledge your darkness, and then the next level is like doing the same thing with the other's darkness. So once you do that, you're absolutely in a Buddha state.
Yeah, I think Buddha state is also misunderstood, right? It's not detachment.
No,
it's at surrender. It's about saying yes.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
flowing.
Yeah, it's just flowing, where
Yeah.
you completely make peace with it, and then start.
Yeah, I think the modern day Buddha is not about the Himalayas,
No.
but is living in Bangalore traffic and being at peace with Bangalore traffic, right?
To be honest, like I travel almost 1.5 2 hours one side, Hitesh, and like I don't say I enjoy, but like I don't complain, I don't get irritated. So
I think it's your
like,
me time, right? 3 hours of me
you're
time.
like you're at peace, so you're connecting, like listening to some of the meditations, other things, so you're moving. So thanks to Bangalore traffic for that matter, like which helps you give.
I think the universe has
peace
a
time.
consciousness that tells you what you need to do.
Yes.
So if you look back and what would you really want more? The analytical, logical mind, or this kind of the alternative
Yeah, like
healing.
this one definitely you've been, because I was contemplating when I moved back to Bangalore to go full time into healing or to go full time into corporate. Then I reached a stage where I said that, hey, I'm going to keep it open, whichever is going to come on my way. I remember talking to a lot of people, going back to the same thing. You have a lot of women therapists who are working on it, like very few men,
Men.
like, but then there are successful ones like you and
Thank you, sir.
Yuvraj and Vijay Sai sir and all. So then I finally said, like, hey, let me surrender, and then whatever comes, take it. And then one more interesting thing which helped me in making that decision is, like, it's about connecting with people, where when you're going to meet people, you're going to talk to people. So when, again, going back to corporate people, going back to the other conversation what you were making when you're in your sales, now probably if you go back to sales now, I think the way you approach the whole thing is totally different. So I can easily relate my first year of 20 years of corporate life, and now after going through the healing journey, now I'm back from last 3.5 4 years, it's totally different.
You find it more easier?
Definitely.
The
More
challenge
easier,
is you're
more
not upstream. You're
not.
You're just flowing.
You're not. You're just flowing. You're completely surrendered. Like at times, like the ego pops up. You say that, like, a man, like, shut up. Like, oh, this is not. It's like, so you're like you. It's not about me. It's not about proving anything. So it becomes a lot more easier.
Yeah, yeah. And do you see any resonance with any karma or past life with your daughter?
Not really. I haven't gone deep into that aspect. That's something which want her to start addressing it when she is ready for it. At this point of time, she's enjoying her thing. So far, for me, it was about what was the reason and rationals what I had gone through and all. To be honest, I haven't gone back and then looked into from that perspective. The one definitely comes to mind is, like, hey, definitely there are so many things which she has gone through, right, during those 6 years post that, and then, like, even now and then, like, knowing, understanding inner child and all. As a parent, you consciously work making sure that, like, you're not creating more inner children for your child, but you never know from what perspective the child looks at it. So hopefully she will go through her journey.
I think that's very well put. With our learning, we become more conscious parents.
Yes.
But then, if someone has to go through trauma, if that's their life journey,
because you don't know how they take it. How it's all about how individual is perceiving.
Do you talk to her often about alternate healing?
Not really, but she knows, she's aware. Like, this guy goes and then does these meditations and all. And then I remember talking about the soul, mind, body to her. So to certain extent, she understands the language and all those things. Beyond that, like, no, I think it's too early. I want her to. It's already the adulthood which has come too early for her. Okay,
course,
I want her to at least enjoy her childhood. I'm just there, like surround as a facilitator, like, during her journey, and then I'm on my own journey. And then definitely more than that, I could see a reflection of my childhood in her, and I think probably that's one of the key thing which children do to you, where they, like, hold a mirror to you. So there is more learning for me in this process.
I think the relationship that we spoke about is not always a relationship with a mother, father, or a partner.
Yes.
The relationship with the self is also the most important relationship.
Absolutely.
And we often tend to ignore that what is our relationship with ourself.
Absolutely. And then, as you said, like, universe has its own way of bringing you down and then back and then making you learn.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rajashekar.
Thank you,
Thank you
Hitesh.
so much for removing time. It's a beautiful conversation.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I wish you and your daughter a beautiful journey of life ahead. May your bond go stronger with each passing day.
Thank you, Hitesh. And then please continue doing the wonderful work what you have been doing. You are living your dream. There are very few people who will get to live their dream. So I think you have found your ikigai spot. So continue doing that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We are Joining Hands. Check us out at joininghands.in. Interesting stories, transformations, where you can live the life that you desire. Thank you so much.